gentlemen, welcome to the announcement of the open workout.
And here comes Haley Adams. The force is strong with Haley Adams. Here comes Austin Hatfield, and Austin Hatfield picks up his first semifinals event win. He is locking down the top spot. Roman Quinnicott is reigning right now.
I'm your host, Rory McKernan.
Oh, baby!
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Chase Ingram.
It's going to be close.
All right, guys, we are a month away from the Open officially. If you haven't signed up yet, registration is now open.
Every year over the past 12 years, I have data, my performance from every single CrossFit Open, going from overweight, just guy learning how to do this stuff, all the way to, now having won the whole thing 5 times in a row.
It's open season. Just do it. We're CrossFitters, that's what we do.
All right, you guys, the Open is coming up quickly. Registration is now live, so make sure you get registered.
CrossFit Games Open registration is live now. And if you don't want to be a couch potato like me, go sign up for the Open.
We'll see you on the leaderboard. Use hashtag Team Proven if you want to join our leaderboard.
I'll see you guys on the leaderboard.
Your best days are ahead of you. You might as well give it a go. Give it a shot.
Get your butt involved.
We're CrossFitters, that's what we do.
Welcome back to Give It the Programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler. Wolverine. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day, Chase.
Valentine's Day. Do you have anything? What do you do anything?
I mean,
you're not like the biggest romantic man.
Oh, dude, you don't even know anything.
Well, I said publicly.
Publicly, I'm not. Privately, I'm very romantic.
Ooh,
I'm very romantic. So, like Laura, Laura does her inspection stuff all the time. So she's like running all over the state doing fire inspection stuff. And she was down in San Diego and doing a bunch down there. And so I knew she'd be coming back up this way. So I sent her flowers to her hotel room.
Ooh.
She didn't even tell me what hotel, what the place was. So I had to do a little investigating, but I got got the flowers to show up at her house or at her hotel before she went to bed last night. And then she's on the road today.
That is nice. Well done.
I'm pretty good like that sometimes.
So my wife worked out this morning after I took the kids to school. She was already out of the house by then. And a big thing for her is like she's a big acts of services gal and quality time, which I am neither.
You're not quality time? Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Really?
Nope. Yeah, no. I am. Are
you like, get the heck away from me? I've been around you too much.
Yes. Like I'm cool by myself and I like to do things. So sitting, like my wife's ideal scenario was COVID lockdown. She's like, best 3 months of my life. It's like, I didn't have to talk to anybody. You were around all the time. The kids were home. It was like, she's like, I loved every second of it.
That's so funny, dude. Oh my gosh.
I'm not even joking. Verbatim. She will say that to you. No, I'm physical touch and words of affirmation. But my toxic trait is that once you give me the words of affirmation, I feel like I don't deserve it and it makes me uncomfortable.
I can see that in you for sure.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
It's weird. Like making my dad proud as an example is like everything I try to do is like to have dad just be like, hey, I'm really proud of you. Mm-hmm. And then once I get that, I'm like, oh, no, don't give that to me, even though it's like of what I've been seeking my entire life. Right? Or from a coach or from a friend. And everybody, like when I get compliments, it's nice to hear, but I have this weird, because like I try to work hard, I try to do a good job, and hopefully people do appreciate that. But then when it's given to me, which is something I'm seeking, but once given, I'm like, maybe I don't want that.
Dude, I'm the same way. Like I'm not used to. It's weird when like you don't need to have compliments. Like I'm secure enough in myself, and like I know that I work hard and I do a good job and all that kind of stuff. Lori's, she gives me compliments all the time, and that was really weird for me. Like I just wasn't used to that stuff. I mean, or anything that was, it didn't have to be a big gushing one. You know what I mean? Like if it was that, I almost felt like, ugh, is it real?
Maybe it's the level. Maybe it's the level.
Like, you know, I mean, like, okay, like when we would broadcast and Tony would say, like, as you're going to start, hey, don't fuck it up. Okay, it's like, all right, I'm scared shitless to fuck it up. And then at the end, it'd be like, hey, good job.
See,
Cool. And I'm
I'm
like,
cool
boom,
with that.
boom, I'm good.
Yeah. I've told my wife, I was like, listen, you pat me on the ass and just say, good job. I will follow you to the ends of the earth.
Is that just the athlete in us?
Maybe it
slap
is.
on the ass, good job.
Yeah,
And
well, true,
cool,
because anybody
my heart's all huge now.
right? It's like, hey, you didn't say good job after you slapped me on the ass. What does this mean?
Right.
You know, it's 20 dudes and 6 shower heads all crammed into a space meant for 4. Like,
Right.
you know, you got to say good job. No, yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's the simple compliment is like, hey, that was a great job. I'm like, thank you.
Do you give very big, like when you give a compliment, do you kind of go and like really paint the whole? I think if we, because I don't know if
Only
I do that
feel like
either.
it's deserving, or they've earned it, or I feel in a way that if it ever is more than, hey, that was a really awesome thing that you did, then it was something that I truly felt, and then I was giving to them.
Yeah, I think when I used to have to do evaluations for my firefighters, I told most of them, I'm like, hey, you're not going to get an exceptional or a over standard, because if you're doing a kick-ass job, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. So I wouldn't you do like these big ovations or whatever. So if I told someone, hey, that was awesome, you did a great job on that. That meant something to me anyway. At least I thought that. So I don't know. It's weird, but I know now. I know that I am. Um, Laura brought that out of me. Like I'm different when it comes to that now.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is cool.
Trish, I don't know where this bowl cut thing's coming from. I've seen this like the last 2 days. I've never had a bowl cut.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've had shorter hair, but at the games I had a buzzed head. It just grew out a little bit.
I don't know where the bowl cut was from.
Like
one of the shots on that video?
Bowl cut is like Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber.
Literally. Literally, for sure.
It's just funny you mentioned that. It's like we had gone through this like top 10 athletes at the games and satisfactory, performed above expectations or below expectations.
Yeah.
And I had this thing with Dylan. I have with Blake a little bit too, but not as much as that. They have this star jar. And if they do something exceptional, they get to put a star in their jar.
Yeah.
They're different colors, and they put their hand in a bag and they pull it to color like, oh, this is the one I wanted, and they put it in. If they get 10, I'll take them to ice cream or something, like frozen yogurt, whatever, as a treat, right? If they do something bad, we take one out. In fact, I make him or them take one out, so it really stings.
Yeah. I like that.
And Dylan will constantly, he'd be like, hey, if I take him to jiu-jitsu, and he's like, hey, did I do enough for a star or in a basketball game or a soccer? He'll always ask me, and I'm like, no. Like,
yeah.
He's like, Dad, I made my bed this morning. I was like, you are supposed to make your bed every morning.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, it was special when I was teaching you how to do that. And now that you do this as a routine, that's just what we do. Right? There's nothing special about that. That's just how we operate. You trying hard in a game is what you're supposed to do. Now, if you scored a goal or a basket, then that's exceptional because you don't really do that ever. And so we base it off effort. And so I'm the same way, is that if you're going to get a star for the jar, like we need to do something above and beyond what we normally do, because what we normally do is we show up, we work hard, and we try to outwork everybody. I don't care if you win. I don't care if you lose. I don't care if you get tapped. I don't care about all that. I just care if you quit or you kept going. And now if you like pin the best kid in class, guess what? We might just go to ice cream that night. Like I might, I'm like what is the golden button in America's Got Talent? Like who knows, right? You got to do something special, not just because you tried hard.
Yeah. I think that I think that those kind of things, compliments, evaluations, like for them to mean something, they can't be given out like candy.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I think I do think that that's important. I mean, I know that people like to hear it. I get it. I know some people, like that's one of Laura's things, is like words of affirmation is her thing. She wants to hear that from me. And And that was something that was new for me because I didn't give those kind of things out all the time.
Yeah.
You know, not because I didn't want to give nice, say nice things or whatever, but like I just wasn't used to doing that. I was very like, again, it had to be exceptional,
Right.
and exceptional doesn't happen every day.
No.
So,
Then it's just normal.
then it's just normal, right?
It was exceptional when you were 5 and you made your bed in the morning. That's not a lot of 5-year-olds do. Not a lot of anybody really does that.
Right.
Now that we're 7, that's just what we do. Right? So the exceptional changes. What I did for Ashley this morning is I talked about access services. So while she was working out, we never. This was like the best thing I ever did for myself because in all my early relationships, like I am the heartless, like heart of my sleeve, romance, pedals in the apartment guy. Like that is just bottle of wine. I made a playlist.
Yeah.
Burn this CD.
Got it.
And when I met Ashley, like the first time I met her, I was like, this is it. This is what this is what I want. This is what I'm going to pray for. This is what I hope to get and spend the rest of my life with. The fact that even happened is a miracle. But the first time we had a Valentine's Day, I was like, I'm going to go total opposite because she was in law school at the time. She's not she's the polar opposite. I mean, you've met her.
Yeah, totally.
Like she is not that.
Yeah.
She'll like some flowers just to feel like I was thinking about her, but not like she likes flowers.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, we're going to go total opposite. Our Valentine's Day, our first one, I was like, I got DiGiorno pizza, Kraft mac and my wife has the palate of it like an 8-year-old child. And so it's DiGiorno pizza, Kraft mac and cheese, easy baked chocolate chip cookies, champagne, like mimosas, and then like cinnamon toast crunch if we're just going the extra level. And that was it. And then it was so ridiculous that I did that. That became our thing. So when she left, I went to the grocery store. I got all that stuff. I got her some flowers, wrote her a little note. I was like, hey, cookies and pizza in the fridge. I couldn't lay it all out here because it'll melt. Right. But that was our thing. But the big gift is that if our kitchen is dirty at all, it will haunt her in her head wherever she is. Like she'll be downtown working and these huge deals, and she'll be thinking about that there's dishes in the sink, and it will stress her out the whole day. So I like cleaned the whole kitchen while she was gone so she could come home. So that was like
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that was
that's cool.
All right. Hey guys, I don't know if you saw this, but the Open is all but 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from yesterday will be the Open announcement for 25.1, which will be at CrossFit Mayhem in Cookeville, Tennessee. They just announced 25.2 location, which is
how crazy is that?
I mean,
Dude.
What is it? It's Emily Rawl for Sydney Wells.
Sydney Wells, yeah.
And it's at Incendia. I should look this up. They're in my freaking region, but it's in Arizona. And that announcement was awesome. And
Yeah.
I'm curious what they're doing. I was like, oh, that's a little early, but we're getting people pumped, get them ready. But man, those last two Open announcements, I mean, how long have we been waiting for something like that to come out of the media team?
Well, we definitely did those. They have been super, super fun. The next seed that has to come up, it's got to be the hint. It's got to be the book with no from Dave.
It's going to come.
It's got to be like the picture of like keys or a fence post or something.
I just hope it happens
no word.
before I leave for Cookeville.
I know.
So
we have
can
to be
do
able
it.
to. We got to be able to come up with something. I know.
If not, it'll be on the spin. The cool thing about the spin being on Wednesday nights is that it's right before Open announcements on that Thursday. So that'll be a whole episode. Just pulling up the picture. Yeah, Dave, if you're not going to Incinita, thank you. Thank you, Jonathan. Chase, what is the name of the leaderboard this year? Should be OG in the Open.
Should be.
It should be.
I think we changed it.
Yeah, I put it out there. Whether you can find it or not, can't help you there. But yeah, I'm excited for that. It's great. Keep it up, please. Keep it up, guys. You're doing awesome. Good promo. All right, I was going to say something. Not against CrossFit, but there's enough people saying stuff against CrossFit too. I was going to offset that, but I decided not to.
Oh.
Shout out to all you incredibly brave human beings publicly announcing all of your things.
That's not brave.
You should be so proud of yourselves.
It's not brave.
It's not.
Bring on the athletes. I'm ready for athletes to come back.
Yes.
Bring on the athletes.
Yeah.
I want to
Even
see
better.
people that want to compete, who don't give a shit about the money, who don't give a shit about the stuff, like whatever, all the politics, whatever. Like the athletes that just want to be athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Where are my Olympians already?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes.
Anyway.
Speaking of bringing on, let's bring on what is our topic of discussion. It is the Glassman chipper. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Today we talk about the pull-up. We did an article a few weeks ago called the push-up. It seems so simple, so benign, yet it was profoundly eye-opening. This article today from the CrossFit Journal, April 2003, written by Mr. Greg Glassman, focuses on the pull-up. And it is going to be yet another fantastic journey through the wild world of a simple bodyweight movement.
Probably one of the movements in CrossFit, like if you look at all the members, the one thing that women mostly, that they want.
Yes.
Like they come to CrossFit because they want
the fabled pull-up.
to do a pull-up.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Which is wild because you see young kids and they're just like all about it.
Yeah, this was like, I mean, getting into CrossFit, this was my favorite movement. I was a pull-up guy.
This was
I was a wrestler, man.
best.
That's all we did were pull-ups. And I loved, like, I remember getting awards, like when they used to do the physical fitness thing, like way back in the day, the presidential thing.
Presidential fitness test, yes.
The pull-up, I would take on anybody.
For those of you guys that lost the links, they did disappear. But don't worry, with enough sleuthing, I found new ones. So I will put those in the chat for you guys now. If you guys want to follow along, print these out. Heidi, hello. Hello. What else going to talk about? With the pull-up. Dang it, I lost my train of thought trying to help out Trish. You son of a bitch. But the cool thing about the pull-up is for me, that was like the one thing I also had coming in, but I had never done a pull-up pronated.
You always did chin-ups?
I always did chin-ups.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so in college, all we did was chin-ups for swimming, right? We needed strong lats, right? Which is, the pull-up isn't a bicep-only movement, right? Bicep is secondary.
Right.
It's the lats that are really getting engaged. So we did a lot of those pull-ups in what we call dry land training. Barbells, can you print them and mail them to me? I thought about doing that, actually. We probably should. We would probably...
We still talked about doing that table book.
like a Glassman chipper coffee table book.
God, that would be amazing.
And just to cover the cost of it, like absolutely not make anything off Greg's work at all. I mean, that's what we do for here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so getting into CrossFit, I'd only done strict, and I called them anybody that kipped. I was like, oh, those are cheating.
Cheaters, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
cheaters. And then so I've said this many times. My first workout was Fran. I was like, all right, hands like this, and you can kip. I'm like, and of course, my smart-ass retort was like, oh, so I can cheat. They're like, whatever, dude. I was like, all right. And I was able to do the 21 unbroken because I got to get momentum. Like I could probably do 23 at the time, 23, 25 chin-ups strict. But I also weighed $170. So like that doesn't really, it's not that impressive. But I love pull-ups.
Yeah, they're so fun. I told Glassman that he did cheater pull-ups. I go, what is that? That's cheating.
Yeah,
I told him.
I
told him, what the heck are those things? Cheating.
To his face.
Little did I know.
That's really funny.
Little did I know.
So more on this. This is just a 3-page article, guys, and most of these are very short. 5 to 6 pages is probably the average of a CrossFit Journal article. So there's no reason other than not being able to find it, which I understand. They need to redo that whole site and just make it so easy to search because it's not.
No,
it's
seriously.
Not. But the very first thing, if you guys are first time here with the pink, because there is no red, or some of the glaring things we should pay attention to. Yellow are important. Blue are good points. And the green are usually with lists. But right off the bat, he says, how can a movement of such enormous import stir such little interest? It doesn't make sense that the pull-up doesn't inspire the same discussion, analysis, and overall attention that so many other movements do, like bench press or squat. And if my entire CrossFit career could be summed up in one sentence of my annoyance with the fascination of 1 rep maxes in competition, Greg just backed me up 22 years ago with this sentence.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
I mean, okay, I get it. Bench press. We all know. Hey, bro, what's your bench? All that. You got the bar on there. You got weight on there. Same thing with the squats. And with the pull-up, you don't have any weight. Or at least you don't see any weight.
Right.
But you got your weight.
Right.
So it is. That's why it's so damn difficult. Because you're moving your body weight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so good. And it especially if you were, back in the day, the strict version of it.
Yes.
The people that could do a lot of pull-ups, they were your athletic looking people.
Right.
They looked athletic. They were strong.
You
They
want
were
the
fit.
V?
They had that V back.
That's a
Totally.
pull-up.
I know.
That's a pull-up. And interesting to that is that we read, there's another CrossFit article way back in the day. Is like, for the misguided people that believe that they're going to get big and bulky doing CrossFit, right? But they want to get stronger. I'm like, well, I don't want to lift weights because I'm going to get bigger. And it's like, but I need to get stronger. It's like, well, guess what? Gymnastics alone is pound for pound the greatest thing you can do for your individual strength without adding mass. Gymnastics. And you can get strong. And part of that strength development through simple gymnastics at high volume and consistent volume is highlighted in this article they put at the very top, which I do not know how old this is, at least 2003.
Yeah.
This is an interesting article we found is in Clarence Bass's site on Pavel's theory of greasing the groove. I'll put this link in the chat, but to kind of summarize what it was is that they basically focused on an Olympic weightlifter who's like a $150 but could snatch 350,
Right.
and clean and jerk 420, but he did a problem of doing too much volume at max reps and repetitions, and they changed his training routine without the barbell to help improve actually his top end strength.
And what's great about sticking it in with this particular article is they did the same thing with pull-ups. So they showed how it could work with pull-ups. So it wasn't just Olympic lifting. It also worked with a bodyweight gymnastic movement. They said that they did it with him. And then they had another, like some older guy that they did it with too. And they're like, we replicated the whole thing. So it's only like 3 pages. It's pretty short. So check that out too. It fits perfectly in here. And especially understanding, because how are most gymnastic movements? We usually go till you fail, and you try to go until you fail every single time. And what it says is you stop before you fail, and that's the base that you're building. So you can do more reps of it. It's kind of like EMOM stuff, which is great. And as a programmer type person, if you're a programmer type, it's something that you need to look at to see how you can utilize that tool, because it is very effective.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I put that in the chat if you guys are watching with us live. We'll probably throw all these links in the description for this YouTube show after we are done. But it goes down to say the classic Merriam-Webster's definition, which we always like, what is fitness? Or like what is it? Just being fit.
The act of being fit.
The act of being fit, yes. The definition of chinning, which I don't know if Urban Dictionary has changed the definition of that. It says to raise oneself while hanging by the hands until the chin is level with the support. So not above support, but level with the support. And he says, notice we make no mention of grip, underhand or overhand, which is supinated or pronated. We don't care, and we don't want you to either. 22 years ago. We don't care and we don't want you to easy either. The lesson is to mix it up. And these are all only specifically focusing on strict pull-ups. Like the, what was it? The perfect push-up, or what was it? Is that what it was called?
The honest push-up.
The honest push-up. Honest. Heidi and Trish in the comments is going to get,
I know.
great.
Easy.
There's words of affirmation, and then whatever the next level of that is between those two. So it's fantastic. I feel pressure now. And then he says, how significant is the pull-up? In our view, the pull-up is at least as important as any other upper body exercise, an essential part of athletic training, perfectly functional, a gateway exercise to highly developed gymnastics movements, singularly unique and valuable, and so has no replacement. The lat pull down is a weak substitute. And he's right.
I know. I love it.
It's the same thing by definition of what a functional movement is, right? Complex movement patterns, right? Where it's, what is that? You can't break it down into its parts. That's the sum of the whole of the movement that has the power of it. Like a bicep curl is not going to be as effective and potent for both muscular development, strength, and athletic development than a pull-up is.
Well, definitely not athletic development at all. I mean, it's you have those single joint movements like that. They're designed for one thing, and that's only to be on stage in a nice little bikini all oiled up. Like literally, that's all it's for. These are athletic. And I think when they were talking functional, it was innate to your body. All the joints and everything were designed to move that way.
Right.
And you need it for independent living, and you can generate power from it.
Sounds a lot like an air squat.
It is. I mean, think about what it is. I mean, what if you prioritize the movements that we do as humans? You have to be able to sit down, pull something up off the ground, push something up over your head, or pull yourself up. And that's this piece right here.
Right. Complex yet irreducible.
And again, where's your hand going to go? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Have to be able to pull.
Right. And we'll get to that part a little bit later in this article. Here's a line that I was not expecting to see. Pulling the chest to the bar is very hard, but encourages... Oh, no, sorry. I jumped ahead. The requirements for the CrossFit pull-up are simple, yet tough to execute. In blue, the pull-up begins from the hang at full arm and shoulder extension and ends, regardless of grip, with the chest pressed tightly. To the bar.
That's the part that threw me. I saw it tightly and I was like, oh, damn.
In 2003, Greg Glassman called CrossFit's pull-ups, defined standard-wise, as chest-to-bar pull-ups. And everybody thinks the chest-to-bar pull-up was created at the 2008 CrossFit Games. And it wasn't. It was created here, and it was strict. That's the CrossFit pull-up, a chest-to-bar pull-up. So not only were you going above the support with the chin, instead of chin over a bar, it's pressed tightly to the bar with your chest. It says pulling the chest to the bar is very hard, but encourages fully opening the chest and pulling the shoulders back or closing the back. So what it means by that, guys, if you squeeze your scapula together and that opens up your chest and your shoulders. It says, but leading with the shoulders forward rather than back is a fault that needs to be fixed long before you're going to get 30 pull-ups. How many of you guys out there, when you're doing your chest-to-bar pull-ups, throw your chest at the bar or pull your shoulders in to try to get the pull-up? That is a fault, just like not going below parallel in an air squat or standing up all the way at the top.
30 strict chest-to-bar pull-ups.
Remember what is the honest push-up is 50?
These numbers, dude, that he comes up with. Like that, the 50 honest push-up, not even close. 30 strict chest-to-bar pull-ups. 30? Damn.
Yeah.
His numbers are crazy. It's awesome.
Chest to bar. I think the most chin over bar I've ever done is with, pronated, I said 23. Supinated 23. Pronated I think it's 21. But again, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I could think of nothing better, two people to have in the chat on Valentine's Day than Heidi and Trish. This is great. This is great. Yelena came here for Heidi and Trish, had no idea Bill and Chase were talking about exercise. Well, Heidi and Trish are talking about exercise too, just a different form.
It's a whole other kind of exercise.
Some would say the most functional.
Yeah.
But I can't. Look, the mind blown thing here is the chest to bar pull up thing.
I know.
I had no idea that this was the thing all the way back then.
Yeah.
None. Oh, this is great. Technically correct pull-ups. This is going to get so much better. Go from the full hang to chest pressing tightly to the bar. Lead with the chest up and shoulders back. So a good cue for strict pull-ups, you guys, if you don't know this, is that a lot of times people will pull from the elbow joint. And really you need to lean back into it. It's the same way
Hips
you
back
should
and down
start.
like squatting.
Like back and down for squatting, leaning back into your lats for a strict muscle up. That's the same cue. Although Solshan would disagree with that a little bit. And by watching his last strict muscle up, did you see that video?
No.
He just like pieced it together while talking the entire time. It was the most ridiculous. It was like the most insulting thing I've ever seen. Says, are visually directed, that is, a sight line is chosen that is shortened as the body raises to the bar, meaning look at the bar you're pulling to. That will help you lean back into your lats. Synchronized respiration to the pull-up. Inhale down, exhale up. Oh, I like that one. Are motivated by trying to drive the elbows down to the ground, not flexing the bicep or pulling them into your rib cage. If you pull your elbows into your ribs, you will never do a chest to bar pull-up. Elbows in, it won't happen. You're like this far. You got to pull them back and down. It's, I like this one, is like nearly any surface on which you can even get a fingertip hold and hang is potential platform for pull-ups. But for the regular practice, you need a pull-up bar for which there are several options. And the first option, Bill, that he has in here is
the rotating pull-up bar. Yeah.
Is a CrossFit, including our thick-handled rotating pull-up bar, a CrossFit original, of which if I'm stuck on the I want to see Turkish get up for weight at the CrossFit Games, Bill is stuck on a rotating strict Fran event.
I want to see it so bad. I think it would be so great. It would be so great. It would be so much harder than the log muscle up that they did like at Rogue.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it'd be so different. And just real fast, Nick Massman right there at the top who built it, that's who introduced me to CrossFit.
This guy right here. This is who we have to blame.
Yep.
For Bill Grundler.
Thanks, Nick.
And I think people can blame Bill Grundler for Savan Matosian. So
I can do that. That is true.
The circle of life. The thick-handled rotating pull-up bar is a grip and forearm developer of the First Order. Not the Star Wars First Order, but I do like the sound of that. Just hanging from this beast makes you a believer. Your grip doesn't slowly weaken. You just find yourself in a free fall. No warning. Just off. Just off. So for road trips and apartment dwellers without garages, the doorway pull-up bar, the old, the ones that's on all those infomercials.
Yep.
Rogue sells awesome ones that you can actually fix into your door frame. I would love to have one of those, but there's no way I'm drilling holes into this house. But that's cool, right? It's and that was part of the article we were talking about earlier. Is like this guy would do 10 pull-ups in the morning, lunch, and night, and if he did that every day of the week, now he's doing 210 strict pull-ups a week. Compound that over the course of a year. Tell me how that is not going to actually help you, and the volume per day is so minimal. And with gymnastics movements, higher volume, especially strict volume, doesn't necessarily carry over the next day like weightlifting does at the same exertion. For those of you that are unable to perform a pull-up, so scaling options already. There is several options. The Stairmaster Gravitron, which they don't make anymore. which is if you guys ever seen that thing at the gym where there's a pull-up bar and then there's like a little shelf platform and you can change the weights and that's the weight it takes off your body. That's not something I suggest in the house. But this one, now this is before they came out with bands, which is really funny to see. It's like our second choice is to tie the ends of several lengths of TheraBand to your bar. So this was before they had what do they call them now?
Assistance bands.
Assistance bands, pull-up bands.
Pull-up bands.
Which I'm on team bane of my existence. If and only if, though, we're doing strict pull-up work. Then I will allow the bands. But those people that take a band and start doing kipping pull-ups and kipping chest-to-bar pull-ups and kipping bar muscle-ups, absolutely not. Funny story is this morning, she used to go to my gym, and now she goes to the gym that I'm currently at. And the workout started with 8 chest-to-bar pull-ups. And she had a band in front of her face. And like, workout was starting in 30 seconds. I'm like, what the hell is this? She's like, I want to do chest-to-bar pull-ups. Like, then do them. She's like, well, I can't do 8 of them. I was like, then do less of them. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to see this band. Rig. That is not how I taught you. And we are not doing that. So I legit took the band off the rig and I was like, show me you can do 1 pull-up right now. Boom, knocks out 1 chest-to-bar pull-up. Great, that's all you got to do. Do 4. Do 2. But don't sit there and lie to yourself that you did 8 chest-to-bar pull-ups with a band. Not kipping, at least. Save it for strict. It's no different than the Gravitron and having some insistence, but strict movement patterns to develop the strict strength that you need to one day pull up your own body weight. And then you can start kipping. This one, I love this one. The third choice, assisting pull-ups with a manual spot. This is especially great technique with large groups broken into pairs. And in blue, I put the athlete being assisted and engaged in one of the best pulling movements, aka the pull-up that we're talking about. The spotter is engaged with a classic bit of hip extension and push. So not holding their ankles because you just want to murder them, as if their hands slip off the bar and you're holding their feet. You do the old Dirty Dancing push press, but just from the back of their shoulders, or you grab them from the lats right on their armpits, and the old dip with them and then stand and press. And the reason why I love this is that I talked about Fran being my first CrossFit workout. My very first free Saturday workout was a partner workout. And they had 50 partner pull-ups with running for 3 rounds or something like that. And we did partner pull-ups like this. But unfortunately, my partner was like 6'6", 275 and way out of shape.
Oh,
so when I was doing pull-ups, it was fantastic. I mean, I was doing like hip to bar pull-ups because he was just taking me through, because I already had pull-ups. So I was definitely helping, but he, was helping me get more. When it was my turn to try to help him, I was 0 help. But he was also 0 help. He was good for like 2 or 3, and then I had to go back to my turn. Yeah,
I think what's funny is they have this on here, and I really honestly am of I don't think that there are any bad scales and modifications for different people at different times. But I remember seeing, actually, I think recently in our group, that someone put a video at a competition where they had partnered pull-ups. And everyone in the group was like, what the hell is this? And again, like, I mean, there's a difference between racing and then like assisting.
Right. A good workout versus a great event.
Yeah, totally. But like, even, think about what you're getting in the gym. And back in this time, there was a lot of lab work and experimentation of the movements and how can you make this work? And okay, if we're assisting, they're getting volume, but like the person that's not working is still kind of working too. And it does sound really silly to do, but I'm telling you right now, if you had to do 100, it would be tough.
Yeah.
It would be way harder than you think. So I know that people are kind of like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah.
But
Trish, so jumping pull-ups before bands or the other way. So my aversion to bands has to do with kipping. Right. If you want to use bands for strict strength to help develop the strength and capacity to do a kipping pull-up, the dangers of kipping pull-ups, it's not necessarily a myth, but what people are skewing is they say kipping pull-ups are dangerous and bad for your shoulders. But they don't bring in the second part of that equation, which is if and only if you don't have the strength and shoulder stability to do a kipping pull-up. And that's with people who don't have strict pull-ups. And so when you put someone on a band and then you put them on the rig and you tell them that they're allowed to kip, now they can put themselves in a much more compromised position without the strength and shoulder stability, the little muscles and strengthening the ligaments and tendons in that whole area, to offset the dynamic stress that a kipping pull-up presents on the athlete. So you take someone who's deconditioned, not strong enough, with weak ligaments, and you allow them to do more pull-ups with an extended range of motion in that dynamic plane. Yes, that's how you can hurt yourself doing kipping pull-ups. And I would say even as far as people who don't have strict pull-ups and can do kipping pull-ups without the band, that's even worse. So the band is there to introduce weight off the body so you can do strict work to make you stronger. Jumping pull-ups are a way to do kipping pull-ups when we don't want to use the band for high volume work because we're not doing a dynamic, full, extended range of motion swing like you would at the bottom of a jumping pull-up. So you're getting more range of motion, less fatigue, more volume without the stress on the shoulder joint. That's a great question. And that's my opinion, I guess.
Well, and I think that all of those things are right. It depends on the person, where they are on their pull-up, where they are strength-wise, what elements do they need to work on. And I think what I've seen, the issue that I have with people when they're doing whatever scale is that they're doing, is that they think that the scale is now the movement. And if they only do that one scale, that now they're only, they'll go jump from that scale to the movement.
Right.
And you have to remember that there's a lot of range of motion within that movement. So what piece do you need strength on? Is it pulling from the bottom? Is it pulling up at the top? Is it being able to have the strength just to control that? Like negatives are great on that kind of thing.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of pieces you can use, and there should be a reason why you're picking the scale or modification that you're using. So if you're a coach out there, don't just blanket throw bands out. Don't just blanket say no bands. Like, I think that like people need to understand why they're giving. Why do they say it's RX? It's a prescription. You are the fitness doctor. You're supposed to be giving them what they need to improve or to get better. And so I think that that's where it really depends on the individual. But you got to know the pieces, and you got to know the whys for each one of those pieces.
I like that. Oh, where are we at? The goal in your pull-up work is more, quotes, the more you can do, the stronger you become. Muscular endurance, absolute strength, relative strength, whatever you want to define and measure gets better. With the goal being high reps and regular exposure is critical to encourage more frequent fundamental bodyweight movements and better warm-ups in all our athletes. So all of these strict things people are pretty averse to when it comes to the workout because it's tougher, it's slower, we're blunting our intensity. Well, if you don't want to do that, then introduce these things into your warm-up. We used to do this all the time, is that we would do, like, part of our warm-up would be like, all right, 200-meter run, and then one round of strict Cindy. Let's just do that 3 times to wake our body up because we're doing a pull, a push, and we're getting below parallel. Just something simple as that, right? Or do it in accessory work or part of the warm-up or post-work. There's a lot of things you should introduce from a strict perspective. With all of that, focus your attention on high-quality push-ups instead of people thinking that they need to shorten the range of motion in the workout because the clock is the only thing that matters.
Yeah, I think we do that. In fact, that's Greg Amundsen right there. And Matt was asking about that. That is Greg with hair right there. Amundsen, not Glassman. But he had his warm-up, and that's what we've always used. And it's pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, strict press, overhead squats for a certain amount, whether 1 round, 2 round of whatever, with the idea of that is not for speed. It's to wake everything up, and it's to concentrate on your movement and your movement patterns, because you aren't, the second you put the clock on people, the form goes out the window. Not for everybody, for a lot of people. And what I want people to concentrate on how they're moving to get themselves warmed up and ready to go, so that we can get to the more dynamic, the more speedy movements, that kind of thing. So strict is good. Strict movements are good.
They're great. It says gymnastic movements are eventually well tolerated at frequencies. And we say the red flag is never recommended for weight training exercises. More specifically, heavy weight training exercises. So the benefit you would get to doing or building up to in a day of, like, say, 50 strict pull-ups are far greater for a longer time than, say, doing back squats at 225 every day at 50 reps, right? That's not a heavy weight, but at 50, that's a high volume, let alone doing that 250 times in a week. But we just said earlier is that if I do 10 pull-ups in the morning, 10 pull-ups at lunch, 10 pull-ups at night, I do that 7 days a week, I do 210 pull-ups, you're not going to feel that. Maybe in the early days, depending on your capacity. Over the course of a week, to a certain extent, you could just do that consistently, but the compounding nature and the improvement that you're going to get from something so simple, yet so potent, is much easier with gymnastics. Do it with push-ups. Oh, we were talking earlier about, high volume gymnastics and what that can do for your strength gains. And so my dad was a very strong individual, just naturally. And he held the record at University of Arizona in the bench press for the football team at the time at 460 pounds. And this is like in the 70s.
Damn.
And I was like, how on earth did you do that? Also, what the hell? Like, my max is like 260. And he goes, well, if I was ever watching a football game on TV, every commercial, I would do 10 push-ups. I was like, that seems like a lie. And so we came home from that trip and I tried it. Now there's a lot more, maybe I'm just going to say this is an excuse. There's a lot of commercials. It's like kickoff, catch, commercial. We're back, commercial again. I tried it for a football game and I didn't make it 6 minutes. But it was just volume and consistency. Yeah. Kendall's saying this, volume is king.
Yeah.
And you can do this strict volume with gymnastics movements more than you can with any other exercise.
I think the reason for that is because it's like you're designed to do it. Like, you're not designed to have 225 pounds on your back, but you are designed to do as many squats as you need to, as many pulling yourself up as you need to. So I don't think it's something that you can overdo in one sitting.
Sure.
But over the course, you get like, we've had people get like rhabdo and stuff like that doing Murph out of the blue. But but if you're looking at volume, like, you can do a ton of volume, and not really have it damage you at all, other than just, all positive increases, which is great.
Especially in the strict nature, because the volume is going to take care of itself based off your local muscle and endurance and capacity.
Yeah, you can only do so much. Gymnastic movements, it always stops. Goes to a point and stops.
Yeah, strict. And that's the dangers. I put this in quotes. I'm not saying everything's dangerous. Anything can be made dangerous. Drinking too much water can kill you. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yep.
All right. Is that kipping allows you to do more, which is the point. But once strict pull-ups go, or strict handstand push-ups go, or regular good old-fashioned push-ups go, dips, all that, they're gone.
Yep.
There is no, and then what you do is like, oh, well, then I'll kip because now I can do more. Yeah, well, okay, now you're dipping into the red. The volume is self-governed. Like, there is you got a governor of strict movement. So it's like, once pull-ups are gone, all right, I guess that's enough volume for the day because I can't do them anymore. So we're good. And the local muscle fatigue and breakdown is not nearly as significant as high volume kipping movements.
Right.
And then the potency for strength development is more. It's almost if you guys should do more strict work if you want to improve your gymnastics. Not buy the most stickiest grips to lock me onto the barbell so I can't come off. And just kip my way into a labrum slap day. All right. Last part. Incorporating the pull-up into your warm-up routine as we said, try not to favor grip. There is a discrepancy in your number, if there is a discrepancy in your number with an overhand versus an underhand, give emphasis to the weaker grip. Train your weaknesses right there. With increasing competency, the difference between the two grips in feel, muscle recruitment, and development approaches zero. If you guys haven't done both, like there's a reason why one's harder than the other if you've only done one. It's a different grip. It's a different muscle activation in terms of order, even maybe muscles that you're actually using in one setting.
Totally.
And the grip thing is fantastic. One of my favorite warm-ups, or just we were talking about, you just kind of, sometimes you just want to do like a body weight pump fun deal.
Dude, total bro sesh.
So one of my favorite bro sessions I'll do in the garage is I'll get out the C2 bike because it's the easiest thing there is to chill on. And I'll do, again, none of this is for time. I'll go 1,000, maybe 2,000 meters on the bike, which is like a 1,000-meter row, casually. 20 bench press with 50-pound dumbbells, and then 10 strict pull-ups. And I'll do 5 rounds of that. But my pull-up rounds go overhand, underhand, wide, underhand, overhand. Those are my rounds. To mix up everything, so I got a little leg, some cardio, I've got some dumbbell press and bench press and weight, and then I've got 3 different movements or hand positions. You can mix them up, right? I could do technically 5 different ones, right? Overhand, underhand, wide, switch this way, switch this way. Maybe that's what I should do on the next time. I didn't even think about that. Son of a bitch.
You should be switching your hands on the push-ups too.
Oh, yeah.
Close, wide.
I like that. I used to do the
diamonds.
10, 10,
Yeah.
10, and then like, you remember the side to side 10?
Yeah, totally.
What were those called? And that was a freaking shoulder injury waiting to happen.
Dude, totally. You know what's crazy is you do the walkover push-ups. At the station, I used to have the guys do it over their helmet, so they'd have the one hand on their helmet, and then did we freeze up? Am I frozen?
No.
Okay.
You're good.
But you do the one hand on the helmet, and you do push-ups on that side, and you walk up over the helmet to the other side, and then do the push-up on that side. This stuff, just change it up. But it's hard. You know what I see? Like going back to the pull-up, everyone. I mean, you've got great shoulder flexibility. People don't do the chin up all the way down full range of motion because they can't get their arm to rotate and all the way up like that with their hands turned to that chin up position.
Yeah, that does get uncovered. You know what's so funny?
I go close. I have to go close when I do that.
I do too. I got a little bit closer just because wide is like that external rotation, especially after shoulder surgery. Yeah. I know it's been 2 years, but the funniest part about that is the guys that have really tight chests, right? And usually it's a life of benching, not functional movements. The pull-up is one of the best prescriptions to offset that.
Oh, yeah.
You've gotten so tight this way that the pull-up, right, you strengthen the posterior part, delts, lats, right, biceps. That actually is going to, along with working with mobility in a big way, is that strength that you're going to have on the posterior side is actually going to help open that up and get you into better position. So the one thing that might be limiting your mobility and you don't want to do it will be the one thing that can actually improve that. And just hanging from pull-up bars in general can massively increase your shoulder flexibility and stability for overhead positions.
Oh, the pull-up, it's so nice.
That was so simple, so great. Every one of these bodyweight one-offs, the air squat, the push-up, I was like, oh, you know, how much are we going to talk about? This is fantastic.
Well, it just really, it goes back to like the virtuosity part of CrossFit. You know, doing the common uncommonly well. And the problem is that we get so used to learning the shortcut that we forget the actual part. Like I remember there was a video that Greg had out in that old weird yellow font on the video where it was a 3-way split on the screen, and it was max pull-ups in like 30 seconds. And it was strict pull-ups, it was kipping pull-ups, and then it was the butterfly pull-up. And it was explaining why what it was doing and why this one did this and why this one did this and what they were used for. And, if we're talking kipping and the butterfly, we're looking at work capacity. If we're looking at the strict, we're looking at like pure strength. We're looking at pure muscle endurance.
Yeah.
Just on specific. I mean, like, that's what I mean. Like, I think what I, and as I get older, I see this more and more and more. No matter what it is that you're doing, you have to know the why of what you're choosing to do, whether it's a nutrition thing, whether it's a programming thing, whether it's a diet thing, whether it's whatever you're doing that day to how you're going to start your day, your morning routine, the why of what you're doing rather than I'm just doing.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of people that just do stuff.
Yeah.
They want to get better at doing the thing. It's like, I want to get better at butterfly pull-ups. Why?
Right.
You can't even do a regular one yet. Why
Yeah.
do you want to get better at a butterfly pull-up?
Like, why you're bad at them?
You think you're going to be doing like 25 unbroken? Like, why do you need to learn how to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting. So I really do like these because it's, just like anything, get back to the basics. And the second you get really good at the basics, then start over again.
Yes.
Greg said all those things.
Yes. Yeah. We're not making these gems up. They were already presented to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
What?
Ryan Kendall just signed up for the Open.
Oh, hey, we got one. All right.
I didn't think we were even talking about that. Right on, Ryan. Good job.
I forgot to push it, but hey, that's awesome, Ryan. Ryan signed up for the Open.
Boom.
Number eight. Boz had talked about this. I think Dave Durante was on the Very Not Random podcast, like just talking about gymnastics. Mm-hmm. And two of the things that he really hammered down, Dave did, was hangs and holds. Right? Hanging for the pull-up bar, holding a handstand, those things. Is that it's funny that people who are so enamored with getting stronger only focus on what the barbell can do for them.
Yep.
And the reality is that, and Boz has been preaching this forever, is that when you get more capable of moving your body in space and then being strong with your body weight in space, strict pull-ups, freestanding handstand push-ups, plank holds, ring dips, is that muscular recruitment and development and body weight strength and stability will translate to the barbell way more than just doing the barbell itself. And then, as you just said, is that there is no path really the other way around.
No.
Yes, me working on my bench press might improve my max regular push-up capacity, right? But nothing is going to replace push-ups, right? Nothing's going to strengthen the little things, right? When you guys lift heavy weights, and for you kinesiology majors out there, give me a little bit of grace here, but you've got big muscles on top and you've got little muscles on the bottom. More often than not, it's the little muscles that have caused most of the problems in your life, or you've strained a big muscle along the way. The big muscles only come online when you hit a certain weight, right? When it's time to move big, heavy, strong weights, your big muscles take over and your little muscles are just there to hold everything together. Mm-hmm. But when you do little lighter work, gymnastics work, or even a hypertrophy, hypertrophy to a certain extent, is that works on the smaller muscles, the stabilizers, the little guys underneath that are the roots of the tree, if you want to put that in perspective. It's like those are the things that you need to have as your baseline that will support the big muscles. It does not go the other way around at all. So if you want to get stronger, do more strict work from a gymnastics perspective. All right. Thank you for signing up for the Open, Ryan. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's a hell of a week. Hell of a week for signups. Hell of a week to promote the community and support. Solidarity. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Support this activity that you love so much.
Yeah, support this activity for which is the only reason anyone knows your name other than being related to you or went to high school with you. Mm-hmm. Trish, that's a good one to end on. I bet Chase is a strong root. All right. That was hell of a Valentine's Day sign out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Oh, Melinda. Yes.
Yeah, Melinda.
That's two. Hey, Hey, you know what we just did? We just offset the last 2 people that announced that they weren't going to do the Open. Thanks, guys.
Look at that.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.